evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the BrookWise Ltd Against All Odds Talk, where we celebrate bold visionaries, innovators, and leaders who have defied challenges to make a lasting impact. Tonight, we are privileged to host a remarkable individual, a man whose journey is a true story of resilience, leadership, and purpose. He is the founder of the Petroleum Outlets Association of Kenya, a respected voice in the energy sector, a mentor, and a family man whose story continues to inspire many. Martin Chomba. Martin Chomba is the founder of the Petroleum Outlets Association of Kenya. The Petroleum Outlets Association of Kenya brings together petroleum value chain dealers from across the country, championing fair trade, transparency, and growth in Kenya's energy sector. As a leader of Promise Energy Limited, Martin has built a solid reputation in fuel logistics and energy management. His leadership has influenced how independent fuel dealers operate, creating a voice for hundreds of entrepreneurs within the petroleum space. Beyond business, Martin is deeply committed to education and mentorship. He serves on the Parents Association Board of Alliance Girls High School and has also served at Triara Group of Schools, demonstrating his firm belief in nurturing the next generation of leaders. Martin's vision extends into the world of technology. He is the founder of UjuziSpace, a dynamic digital innovation hub that empowers youths and startups to use technology for social and economic transformation. Martin is also a respected social, political, and economic commentator whose insights have been featured on major platforms including Citizen TV, Nation TV, KTN, Inoro TV, Voice of America, and CNBC Africa. Through these platforms, he continues to shape national conversations on leadership, governance, and inclusive development. Currently pursuing a PhD in development studies, Martin's life is a blend of academic excellence, community service, and visionary leadership. He is passionate about mentorship, family, and transformative leadership, values that anchor his journey both in business and public service. Martin is also an aspiring member of Parliament for Kirinyaga Central Constituency, driven by his desire to promote people-centered leadership, youth empowerment, and development grounded in integrity and opportunity. Away from the public eye, Martin is a devoted husband and father of four, a man who believes that true leadership begins at home. His family inspires his purpose and fuels his determination to uplift others. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming a visionary entrepreneur, community leader, mentor, and patriot, a man who truly defines what it means to rise against all odds. Put your hands together for Mr. Martin Chomba.
Hey, you guys can snoop. Wow. Allow me to say a word of prayer even as we start. Dear Heavenly Father, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, we come before your presence this precious evening. We don't take it for granted that, Lord Almighty, we planned and you've brought this to fruition, oh God. I want to bring myself before you, King of Glory, that you may use me to speak to somebody at the place where they are. There's a reason why you have gathered us, oh God. We may have planned, oh God, but there's a reason as to why this has happened. There's a reason as to why you have brought the people that you have brought here. Individually, they have a word that they need so that it can take them to the next level. So we don't take it for granted, but we ascribe all honor and greatness to your name. I bless you, Jehovah, as you use my tongue as your oracle to speak to the hearts of your people. May God bless the words that goes forth and the hearts that receive it. It is in Jesus' name we pray, trusting and believing. Amen. Wow. Okay. Have you ever been introduced and you wonder whether it's you? So it's so good to see you. Very exciting because, like somebody said, this is the place they would rather be. I may not be able to say the way she said it because I think the secret of the pronunciation is in the gap. But it's a beautiful one. I hope they tell you. If they don't, take it from me. It's a beautiful one. So my name is Martin Chomba. Martin Chomba is a born-again practicing Christian. I want to make that clear because we have a lot of born-again who are not practicing. So I'm a practicing Christian. And what I mean by that is a story that my mother used to give me and used to tell me that there are very many homes in the village that we used to buy that TV, a black and white. You guys, you may not resonate with that, but I know the likes of Victor Muli would resonate with that. But people at some point kukiwa na shida wanauza TV ile ya ndani, lakini kuna back area. So because area was a sign of opulence. So Christianity also happens like that. A lot of people wameuza TV lakini wako na area. So that's why I wanted to qualify that statement. I'm a practicing Christian. I'm a Thamos. So unajua unaweza pata Thamos inakaa poa lakini ndani ishavunjika. Yeah, so other than that, I am a father of 4, a young man who is probably the age of quite a number of you, and 3 beautiful girls. I'm married to 1 wife, very important to mention, and I am an entrepreneur. I am in Petroleum sector, and I'm also in data center, and recently I've forcing issues into tech. So I want to declare that Sir Charles told me that I need to come and talk and give a story. Yeah. So I have not prepped. So you'll hear it the way I'm remembering it. Because I know when you give an authentic story, it speaks. It's better than the story of the motivation speeches that I started with 1 goat. Okay? So, I am a village boy par excellence. I was born in Mount Kenya area, a place called Kirinyaga, next to the forest, some 48 years ago this November. Yes, I'm that old. 48 years ago, I was born to a young lady, a young girl of 17 years, my late mother. And because of the socioeconomic status then, she had to move and look for greener pastures in terms of looking for work here and there. And I was left with my grandmother. A year and a half thereabout later, I was joined by my brother. And allow me to get something, because this will illustrate. I wish I had known this, I would have given you, but I hope if I send you this photo on WhatsApp, you can be able to screen it here. Yeah, when people ask me, I like him already. When he talks about mathematics. Yes. There are places I'm invited to speak, and people ask me for my bio. And this photo is what I give them, and I tell them it's beyond. I don't know how you'll get it from there. Just sit it. Okay. So, a year and a half thereabout later, I was joined by my brother, who is called Benson. And the 2 of us were raised by our grandmother and our grandfather. We were raised in what you call, wale wanasikia wakiongea kizungu wanasema abject poverty. And I'm not talking about poverty, the one people talk about, because there are things I've been to a meeting and I heard somebody talk, and there were ladies and they were saying that, you know, when I was in the wilderness, the only thing I could afford was a chicken wing. Okay. It was so bad. I could not fuel my car. What are you saying? Hey. So I'm not talking about that. But I was speaking somewhere this week, and I was telling them the beauty of life is that you don't miss that which you'll never have or you've never seen. If I ask you today your favorite meal, you're likely to give me the dishes we know here. But I want to put it to you. Yes, please. Oh, my face ID. Okay. I want to put it to you that today in Japan, there could be food that is better than the githeri you like. But because you have never had it, you can't miss it, isn't it? And so your world revolves around ugali and rice and whatever else that you eat around here. That was our life. We didn't know anything out there. The only thing I ever missed in my life was KICC and Parliament. Reason being, we used to watch TV. We used to go to some place to watch TV. We didn't have a TV. And we needed to have 50 cents to buy tea in a hotel so that you can be allowed to watch TV. And watching TV was really watching TV, because those days we would watch a program that I think it was called William Tell. Those guys who can remember those days. Yeah. And we would watch it, na imeisha, unaona hata zile majina za production zinapanda, you are still watching. Watching TV was really watching TV. So, around that time, when news would come on VOA, you remember those days, it was Mutukufu Rais Leo. Yeah. So the first thing that would come is the KICC or Parliament. And so my idea of people who lived in Nairobi was that they live either in KICC or... So you don't want to be me when I'm coming to Nairobi and I have to go to places like Kibera. I'm like, what happened to Nairobi, you know? And I schooled with some guys in high school who came from Nairobi, and they would speak a lot of Sheng. You know, that Sheng we would not understand. Because you can't tell what they are saying, but you like the way the words are going. You know, then I come later to Nairobi and realize some of them were from Karori, but still in Nairobi. So we are growing up with my brother in that poverty. And I'm talking about that poverty where jiggers ilikuwa ya kawaida. We got to a place where when we would take our you'll see that photo, it will illustrate what I mean. When you're taking cows to the deep, umetoa jiggers mpaka umekuwa na vidonda. So you no longer want to do that. So you are told you dip your leg into the deep, so that concoction, hiyo dawa ya nini ya tick, can also deal with them. Vidian. Kichwa ukiangalia ilikuwa ni kama umegongwa na unga. Si unajua lice? Yeah. By now you know I'm from Mulima, so tuko na shida ya yellow na ara. So don't have a problem. So please, enda tu na wika. It's kama chat GPT, sina kucorrecting hata ukitaka vibaya. Unaniweka tu hapo. So we are growing up and we are in primary school. In primary school, we are bullied. The reason why we are bullied is because they used to tell us that we call our grandfather our father. Because remember, my mom is not with us. She's gone elsewhere to look for greener pastures, and it's me and my brother. And so in those days when we were schooling, we didn't used to register your own name. You don't register your own name. It is your father's name. And because my mother had schooled in the same school and my auntie, so we just registered in my grandfather's name. And so kukiitana watu wa kwenda nyumbani, we did not even used to wait. Wale wa kwenda kuchukua fees, we will always be there. there's no way watu wanaweza fukuzwa shule wakakujie fees na wewe ubaki. It was unheard of. So there was that bullying, but we schooled, and I sat my class 8. I did well, but now the problem was to go to high school. I was supposed to go, kuna ile shule umeitwa. Si unajua kuna zile shule umeitwa, lakini because of very many other reasons a concession is done, and unatafutiwa shule yenye unaweza enda, because where I needed to go to school, the fees was high, and everybody had agreed that I should go to some guys who are training mechanics out there, not training per se. You know the way there's a mechanic guy out there and you become an apprentice, you unakaa tu hapo mnaye. So that is what I was supposed to do. But I also thank God, because of our African traditional naming systems, I was named after my grandfather, and my grandmother said there's no way my husband is not going to high school. Wow. So I started, that is the first place I started seeing serious faith, because the school fees I needed to pay in a school called Kamwiro Boys High School was 12,000. But my grandmother sold, I remember she even sold eggs, and we managed, there was a fertilizer, and we managed 1,000 bob. And so we go to the teacher. That teacher is alive today. He's my hero. And my grandmother tells him, Mwalimu, hizo zingine nitakuletea. Allow the young man. And hizo zingine hatujapeleka mpaka leo. Because from there, I was very good in biology. And that head teacher was the one teaching biology. And so, the head teachers then, and still today, they were the secretaries to the board of governors. And so whenever they sat down to discuss about bursary, he remembers that I should be in class answering questions. And that's how I used to get my bursaries. And I left high school without debt. I've cleared high school in 1996. And when I was in high school, I want you to gather lessons. When I was in high school, I had a friend. This friend of mine was from Nairobi. And people from Nairobi, for one reason or the other people used to feel like wana maringo. You know, and so getting along with a lot of people, not everybody had the patience. But in my life, I had learned, because I think it was by then low self-esteem because of the way we grew up. When poor people in your village calls you poor, you know, I know that you are poor because I can tell those guys were poor, but they kept calling us poor, you know. So you can imagine how poor you are when the poor people calls you poor. I think that had done quite a work on my patience, and I had gotten to a place where I didn't think that I amounted to much. So I befriended this young man. Then my mother also was, my mother was a happy soul. And so the mother sometimes could not afford to come from Nairobi to visit. Oh yeah, this is me. For those who can see, this is the photo. I don't know what has happened to the legs. Yes. Okay, you would have seen, it's not very clear, but you would have seen hata miguu zimekaa hivi. You can tell niko na katumbo. Isn't it? Yeah. See, it's not money. Even my brother. Yeah, no. Those days we used to be given dawa inaitwa Padrax. I know kuna wale wanaikumbuka. Minyoo inatoka tu venye imesimama. This ilikuwa minyoo. Ukiangalia ni ile makasi, you know? Yeah, kunyoa. And this day was Christmas 1982. So kuna watu walikuwa wanakuja once in a long time kuwapiga picha. And so ametupatia picha zingine hata tujui ni za nani, tushike hivyo tupigwe nazo picha. It was just a style. So the reason why I wanted you guys to see this, you see this grass thatched house, that is where we used to live with our grandmother and our grandfather. So I am not talking about ile motivation nilawambia from the books. I'm talking about a real story, because when I close my eyes now, I can still hear the sound of the rain. Because what my grandmother used to do, because they were porous, these roofs were porous, the rain would pass. So kuna hizi makaratasi zinatumika in greenhouses. And we used to use them kwa majani chai. So what would happen is whenever it started raining at night, my grandmother would wake up and put that over us, my brother and I. We were sleeping in a bed. Sijui kama mnajua ile zilikuwa za taya. Unaona hii ya kala. And the problem with them is ikikatika moja na wewe ndio umelala kwanza, wale wengine wote wanakuja juu yako na unalala kama umekaa chini. Those are the places that is where I grew up. When it's morning, nobody needed to tell you it's morning. You can see, you can see it's morning. You can see outside because the sun is directly hitting you. Sometimes unasikia joto, what's happening? Kumbe ni jua inakuchapa. If it got to rain in the evening, mali mlikuwa mmefikisha kupika, mnaachia hapo. Because because by kupika here I mean kuni. Sorry, I need to be explaining these things. I could be saying kupika and there's somebody who cannot visualize hiyo ya kuni. So that's what I mean. And when now the mother to the young man that I had become friend, because my mother used to visit me and visit the young man when the mother was here, felt like she would have wanted to do something to reciprocate what my mother was doing on the other side. And so she asked my mother, those days kulikuwa na simu za booth. So my mother was a hairdresser, a very good hairdresser, and there's a town in my village inaitwa Kagumo. That's where she was doing the hairdressing, and outside the place where she was doing that kulikuwa na booth. Akampigia simu akamwambia, if Martin is not doing much, nitatumana fare yake akuje atu visit Nairobi. And other than having come to Nairobi, because I used to do, I used to solo and sing in folk dances, and at some point we came to KICC to do the nationals. And other than that time, I had never been to Nairobi. And so this is the time I'm coming to Nairobi, and that is 1996 December, and I'm in Githurai. I'm thinking in Nairobi. You know, if you've never come to Nairobi, every time you see a tall building, unafikiria ndio hapa. It is the reason you'll find a lot of people coming from this side, they settle in Mlolongo. Those guys coming from this side, they settle in Kangemi. Those guys coming from this side, they settle in Githurai. Mahali umeanza kuona nyumba kubwa unasema nimefika Nairobi nishukishe. Yeah, so that was me. Okay, I didn't settle there because at least there was if I was coming to Nairobi ningeshuka hapo Githurai. But because there was a specific place I was supposed to go, I went to Riruta Satellite. On my way to Riruta Satellite nikapita mahali na huku Kawangware, and I couldn't believe nikiona nyumba za matope. It was such a downgrade of the vision I had of Nairobi. So I'm in Riruta Satellite. That lady was very gracious. She took me to college. I went to try and study clearing and forwarding at 3 months down the line, because the son was also doing in Kenya College of Accountancy. Then ilikuwa Upper Westlands those days. She couldn't manage the fees for me and for the young man, and I appreciated it, because she had demonstrated the willingness to take me to school. So I dropped out of Kenya Institute of Cargo Forwarders, ilikuwa Mfangano Street, and she used to send me. She was a dressmaker. She used to send me, enda ukaweke vifungo hapa, enda ukafanye that kind of a thing. And one day, the person who was the counselor then, an equivalent of MCA today, used to pass by. They were friends. And so he was looking for somebody mwenye anaweza ajili kazi ya kuuza makaa. And so this lady asks me, can you, unaweza uza makaa? Mimi namwambia, jana ningepata hiyo kazi ningekuwa nishaanza jana. I was willing, and this is the beauty of life when you are socialized to work, because in the village there's no luxury of easy vitu za kukaa tu. Every day is working. There's a program. You either uamke ukamue ng'ombe ama kwetu ni kuchuna majani chai upeleke. There's that culture of work. And I tell people, this is the reason why, Sir Charles, today the economy of this country is in the hands of the people that in school they were scoring C's and B's. Yes. Because those people did not have a sense of entitlement. There are those guys who just score A. Ata alale amke A. The problem with those guys, they don't work much. Yeah. But those of us, when you tulikuwa hapo B, C, you know, for you to keep up with that guy, you have to work extra hard. But what you don't know is that when you are doing that, you are inculcating the culture of hard work. Yes. And when you are outside school, it will not be strange for you to work hard. Because out there, after school, and I know most of you appreciate this, nobody cares the grade you had. You can seem to us that you had A until cows come home. But at the end of the day, is the production that you're doing that will take you a step ahead. And so, now, this guy, the counselor akasema, akapatia the son the job ya kunipeleka Liruta satellite nikamuzia makaa. And on the way, when we were going to Mali, nilikuwa naenda kumuzia makaa, this young man was he was selling kerosene in Kibera. And so he found, this is the other thing I want to tell you guys. You see, the reason why I've come to Nairobi first is because I was friendly. Okay? These are the lessons I told you must pick as we move along in this life. If you want people to help you, show yourself friendly. Yeah. You can't be a person who looks like you've been baptized in lemon juice. And then you expect people to walk along with you. Even today, there are places, and I go, and I will tell you this. I go to places, I get invited to places, and I go sit in a car, driving to place for barbecue, najichuna kama ni mimi niko kwa hiyo gari. And the only reason is, somebody is told, where is Chomba? Can you ask him whether he has something that he's doing? When he's around, we are happy. Wow. He makes us easy. He makes us feel easy. And so, I find myself sitting in serious places, just because of being friendly. And so, this young man, as he's taking me to Liruta satellite from Kahud, sijui kulikuwa tunakaita Kawot na hapo juu, Kabiria, from a place called Kabiria towards Liruta satellite. What happens is, on the way, he finds me interesting. And because he's working there, akaniambia kuja nikuonyeshe. So that's how I find myself going through toy markets, mnajua? Mpaka Kibera. So this is where my story starts. That was a preliminary. My story starts here now. So nimeanza kuuza mafuta, nimepelekwa kuuza mafuta ya taa. Na nauza mafuta ya taa ile ya kupima na vikombe. This guy ananiachia kazi, anaenda for long. Sorry. I've been under the weather for some time, don't worry. So anaenda mbali. Sasa ananilipa 40 bob per day. So 10 bob naenda nayo asubuhi, 10 bob narudi nayo. Then they had introduced me mahali ya Mutura. So ile 20 bob nilikuwa namalizana nayo kwa Mutura, because in the village sikuwa napata Mutura, and it was such a delicacy. So ninauza mafuta, then we started marketing huko Kibera. So those of you who know Kibera, kutoka kwa chief kuna mahali na hapo chini kunaitwa Gatwikera. Si mnajua? Gatwikera huko nimeuza mafuta, Shiranga, Kisumu ndogo, and that's tulikuwa tunaenda tukiweka new stations until now we became a bit opulent. Unajua watu wa Kibera wakiomoka Kuna mahali wanaenda inaitwa Karanja Road. Si mnajua Karanja Road? Yes, huko ni Kibera yenye imeomoka. So, and by then I had started reading, and I was reading a book, and this is where this is important. We usually say this: those of you who are able to read but you don't read, you have no advantage whatsoever over your grandmother who cannot read. Wewe na nyanya yako mko? If you can read but you don't read, you have no comparative advantage over your grandmother. So I started reading, and I was reading a book by Dr. Miles Monroe. It's called In Pursuit of Purpose. That book I'll never forget. I still have a copy today. And this guy was talking about life and how you don't have to be where you started, and as long as you change your mind, you can be what you want. Yes. And then I started appreciating literature about business. And somebody I read was talking about purchasing power. Then nikajiambia huku Kibera wale watu wanakuja kununua mafuta na nunua ya 5 bob na ya 10 bob. Where else can I go that people have a higher purchasing power? And so in 1998 I moved to Kangemi. In Kangemi nikakuta huko maisha, people are able to buy mafuta ya 20 bob mpaka ya 50. At sometimes mwisho wa mwezi wananunua ya 100. And that's where I expanded my business. I expanded my business from kuuza na vikombe zile nimenunua pale Kamukoji market, nikanunua pump. You know, dispensing pump. Tuko na yule jamaa wangu sasa. Tumenunua pump. But at some point, my friend, I don't know what he did with some guys, and he got conned. Everything. And the guy took off. But I want to tell you, before he got conned, what had happened. So when we went to Kangemi, he would go to Tanzania. He was a DJ. Alikuwa anaitwa DJ Buddy. Those days alikuwa anacheza music mpaka Serena sijui wapi. Those are the times that people did not appreciate DJing. They used to, ukisema tu ati wewe unafanya DJ, ni kama tu ungeniambia tu umeenda kuvuta bangi. You know? I'm telling you, even as a society tumetoka mbali. When I was growing up, women would not braid their hair. Akina my auntie, hizi za nini? Mnaziita hair piece, hizi zinafika huko. You wouldn't do that. Wearing a jeans. Hey, people would look at you like you are a gone case. And that is where we are coming from. So this guy would go to Tanzania and other places for gigs and leave me with the business. But when he comes, anakuta nimefungua ingine. I'm talking about being faithful. I tell people this is the utmost test of anyone who wants to be an entrepreneur. If you know in your heart that you are not a successful employee, you are not an honest employee, don't try business. You cannot be a successful employer if you don't have the capacity to be a successful employee. You may not have been employed, but you have the capacity within you, the integrity and honesty. They are still the best policy. It is still the best code. Money is a language. Wealth is a dimension. Money has a way of running away from you the minute it realizes you are chasing it. Seller, the Bible writes seller. Think about it. If you're chasing money, you'll never get money. Money has a tendency to gravitate towards value. The question you ask yourself, what value have I created? If you don't create value, don't look after money. I tell people, ukisikia watu wakisema hakuna pesa, that's a fallacious thing. And those of you who have done, and I've realized here we have serious philosophers. They may not know they are philosophers, but the way they are doing things, they are replicating akina Aristotle. Unless ukute mahali pesa imechomwa, uniambie kuna mahali pesa ilichomwa, mimi huwezi niambia hakuna pesa. Pesa ni vile hauko nayo, iko mahali pengine. Every morning and evening, there are two activities. There are people who go for money in the morning, and there are people who take money to the bank in the evening. A lot of money leaves the bank in the morning, and a lot of it goes to the bank. As entrepreneurs, our job is to make sure, because I told you money is a language. You must understand the language of the money. You must understand the grain along which money moves, because a lot of us find ourselves moving against the grain. Unajua kupitana na pesa kwa highway, kwa hii uko hii side hiyo unaiona ndo ile, but inaenda hivi. Si ndo? Unaguza dhao tu kwa matatu wakati conductor anakuambia umpatie huyo mtu wako nyuma. Si ndio? Unaiona lakini iko kwa ile lane nyingine inapanda na wewe unateremka. So you must have a way of making sure that you can travel along the grains of money. And I hope I will have a good time, because these are things I really want to talk about. Yes. So Niko Kangemi, this guy anakuta nimefungua like 3 more stations, and in his account Standard Chartered Bank Westlands anakuta nimemwekea pesa, hata yeye hajui kwamba hiyo pesa ilikuwa. What happened afterwards, and that's why I tell people I've not been employed, I was employed for 17 days, is I realized long time the guy resigned. He realized I think I had some wit, or I was so driven, he resigned. So what he used to come and ask me is, tukitoa 10,000, biashara itaran. He did not know nothing. If I wanted to embezzle funds, I would have done that. And I would tell him, yeah, hata 20 tukitoa itakuwa sawa, because your bank kuna hii na hii stock ni ya hii pesa. And the guy gets the money that he wants. When I want to go home, namwambia nataka kwenda nyumbani because I need anipatie pesa. Ananiambia ona ile pesa utatoa na biashara ibaki uende urudi. The guy had resigned. Yeah. Okay? And this is what I tell people. Today a lot of us are saying there are no jobs. But it's the opposite. There are no employees. All there is people who want money. Those are two different things. Employees hakuna. As we are speaking today, I have an offer from a friend of mine who is telling me, Chomba, if I get somebody who can do what I do exactly the way I do it, I can pay them $1 million a month. Unfortunately, a lot of us, and especially the young people, the minute you get into a company, the first question you ask, hapa zinapatikanaga aje? The employees, hata kabla kuuliza choo iko wapi, unauliza hapa zinapatikanaga aje, as in za kando. Isn't it? And so, the issue we are grappling with as a society is not the issue of unemployment. There are no credible employees, people who are willing to go through the process to get on the other side. Everybody wants to drive a Subaru tomorrow. And I'll tell you this for those of you who are doing startup. Let me just speak as it comes to my mind so that I don't forget. The people who designed the way you go to college, designed that you go to college for at least 4 years. I'll tell you this. It is the same with business. There is no business that you're going to start today and you start making money tomorrow. Because buying and selling is not what is business. That's transaction. That is not business. Business is in building acumen. I am in petroleum products today. I've been in it for about going to 28 years. I know, as we speak here today, I know what is likely to happen in the next month. So, I am doing my planning today. Yeah. Then, Victor Muli leaves his goat farming and he comes to petroleum. The first thing that he'll do is to buy fuel and go sell. Meanwhile, Chomba is not buying, because Chomba knows something that he doesn't know. And that's the reason why every time unasikia mtu ameenda China na wewe unaenda China. Wewe hujui anaendaga season gani. Wewe ni wakati umepata fare, umeenda China. Then you come back. Kidogo unatuambia hiyo biashara haina pesa. Because as I told you, money has a way of running away from you the minute it realizes you are chasing it. So what do? Don't chase money, chase value. The person that discovered these lights was not looking for money. That person was not looking for money. He was looking of serving humanity with light. And in doing so, he created a $1 billion industry. The Wright brothers were not looking for money. They were not opening a consortium of businesses. They were looking for a way from moving from this place to the other place faster. That is service to humanity. As they were doing that, they created a $1 billion industry. A story goes, the guy that discovered mobile telephony as we know is today, he was not looking for money, but telecommunication is a $1 billion industry. He was actually, the story goes, those of you who have read it, I don't know how true it is or it's a myth, but he was trying to communicate with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend was called Hello. And so a lot of you today calls somebody's girlfriend over the phone, thinking you are saying hi. And so, in trying to communicate with the girlfriend, the guy brought service to humanity. And that has created a $1 billion industry. So what is it that you're doing today? Is what you're doing looking for money or creating value that can serve humanity? Money, as I told you, gravitates. Money has a mind of its own. And it will not change. Because principles are not emotions. You can cry, you can whine, unaweza kwama, unaweza kopa uchotwe, but the principle still remains. If you don't align, you burn. And so in Kangemi, the guy amekoniwa. So the day he came to tell me amekoniwa, he left me with 600 bob. 600 shilling. What do? I go to a mahali tulikuwa tuna nyumba tumekomboa hii. Across the road, wale wanajua Kangemi mahali inaitwa Posta. Across the road kulikuwa na nyumba ya gorofa. Those guys used to come kununua mafuta kwangu. So I tell them I had made a square tank. Ilikuwa kwa nyumba. Nikamwambia mniruhusu tafadhali niweke hii tank hapa, nikainamisha, and I did a door and a window in that square tank ya mabati. And that became my business premise. And what do I do now? Wale wanajua Kangemi, unajua kuna mahali kuna Total petrol station pale kwa soko. So I would go na mtungi ya 20 liters nanunua na kuja. So my business here is making the distance shorter for those guys who want mafuta. So naendea pale na ileta hapa, anauza hapa at a premium. And I started making money through that. So nikaanza kuona nahitaji mitungi 2, mitungi 3. Then it got to a place I needed to have a drum and a drum. Nikikomboa mkokoteni, this guy would charge me 100 shilling. Then one day nikakuta hayuko. A gentleman alikuwa anaitwa Muroki. Kukuta hayuko, the guys they were working with, nikamwambia siniende na hii mkokoteni na mimi bado nitamlipa. Najua kwangu siwezi potea na mkokoteni. Kaniambia enda. And that's how I started pushing mkokoteni in Kangemi. Because I realized every trip I made on my own, I saved 50 bob. Every trip nimejisukumia mkokoteni, I saved 50 bob. And the good thing about life, when you are not over ambitious, and this is what I tell young people, please don't borrow money to start an enterprise. Please, nawasihi, especially when you are in the incubation, push yourself for some time so that you learn the ropes. Because if you start a business with 5 million shilling today, the following morning you will not know whether you have made losses or profits. When I was doing what I was doing, I was able to know E50 bob ni profit.
Yeah.
Because the money is commensurate to what I'm doing.
That's right.
But when you start a business with stock, not customers, my friend, utajipata unakula hiyo unga ama unakula hiyo mkate. So what do you do? Start your business with customers. If you have to borrow, let your customers, let the demand make you borrow. We borrow, even today, a lot of us, we borrow quite a bit of money. But we borrow to satisfy the demand. And that is prudent borrowing. But if you borrow to start, nobody knows that you have a business. Nobody knows what you're doing. So there is no demand. And then the bank wants their money 2 months after you've started after you borrowed. That is the time, you know, watu wengi wanafanyaga ile tunaita mahesabu ya calculator. Ni mzuri sana. Kwamba nitachukua loan ninunue matatu. Hiyo matatu itakuwa itaenda, unajua mmekaa na besti yako mnakunywa chai. Hiyo matatu itakuwa inaenda Nakuru. Inafaa kuenda trip 2. Wacha hata tuipatie moja. Wacha tuipatie moja. Unafanya hivyo. Hiyo itakuwa ni 3000 na 3000 kurudi, that is 6000. So week hata wacha wiki. Sunday wacha tusifanye kazi. I don't know kama mnajua hiyo hesabu ya calculator. All of a sudden umelala kwako unashindwa. Why are people rich? Hata ifanye hapa Kangemi hapa itaenda trip ngapi? You start seeing, unaona watu nao ni kuna vile wako slow. If they don't have money. Isn't it? Itaenda mahesabu ya calculator. Ni mzuri sana ukianza. Now ufanye hiyo mahesabu, then you go borrow. You see, I tell people, start where you are. And quit being this kind of a person when you usema ati mimi mtu akanikopeshea saa hii 1 million naweza wastua. Wewe tustue na hiyo 10,000 uko nayo. Tustue na hiyo. Tustue na hiyo. Yes. Because these are fallacious things that I wish somebody told us when we were starting. And you guys have the benefit. You don't have to learn through experience. My bishop used to tell us that experience is not the best teacher, it's a harsh teacher. Because by the time unatoka pande ile ingine, umegwaruzwa, you know, you have marks all over. And you don't want to play. Now that's why unaonaga watu wengi wakisema rich men are mean. No. It's the process. It's the process. These people get to a place they understand every shilling count. Every shilling count. And if you don't take care of cents, don't expect to have notes. Once you take care of the cents, the best riches in the world, and that's where I was coming about ile story ya natengeneza 50 bob, is when you grow like that, you don't even realize that you are getting rich. It's actually the best riches in the world is when you still have problems in your mind, but people are feeling like, I Titus. Unaanza kuona watu wanakuita mkubwa boss. Meanwhile ni mzee amefanya mikono hivyo. Anakuja kukuita mzee. When you don't even realize it, that is best riches. And so what happens to me is I started selling. Nimeuza hii mafuta, nimeuza na mkokoteni, and because I'm visionary, my life even now I revolve around policy. I sit down, I think. Actually one of my best leisure time is if I have a friend like him and there's a business he's trying to do, we can just have a cup of coffee and sit and say, can we talk about this business? I love those spaces. We just speak and I'll tell you this is what I think would happen, this is what I would do, you know, to try and get the 360 picture of what is likely to happen. So I have employed a guy. This gentleman, nimefikisha mafuta, by then mafuta ilikuwa inatoka 27. Nikianza kuuza mafuta ya taa ilikuwa inatoka 8 bob. By the time now 2001 mafuta inatoka about 27. And so I have 1,000 liters yenye nimekuwa kutoka ile 600. Because I also was not accustomed to, I was not drinking, I was a church boy. I was a church boy. There was a big church ilikuwa hapa Uhuru Park, ilikuwa inaitwa ya Bishop John Obonyo, ilikuwa inaitwa Big Tent. That is where I was in the praise and worship. Believe you me, there's a day I could sing. Never mind today, I only make joyful noise to the Lord. But there are days I could sing. So, and actually that's where I met my wife, in the praise and worship team. And so, let me throw this because it has come to my mind. I talk on many issues. There are those of you here, I want to tell you, don't buy into the popular narratives out there in the society. Marriage is still the best things after chips. I'm telling you. You can argue with that fact when you're young, but as you grow old, you understand what I'm saying. And young ladies, some of you qualifies to be my daughters. Let me tell you this. And this is the truth. You argue with it, it's okay. If you want to know whether a man is serious about you, look at where he takes you. A man who takes you clubbing has no intention to marry you. I know this is not popular, but this is the truth. Unajua kuna ile utasema, you argue with it today, but few years later, you'll understand. If you want to know the character of a man or a woman that you are getting to marry, don't look at them when you're dating. Look at how they treat the waiter. Look at the way they talk to the gate man. That is you 5 years later when the goosebumps are gone. I'm telling you. Things don't go wrong. Things start wrong. Today we have a lot of issues of people talking about baby mamas. Allow me nifike tu hapo kidogo nikirudi. And I tell them this. Do you know what happens? People say good girls like bad boys. So when you are in college, there are those of us who look like gigs. You don't give us a second eye because we don't look the place. We don't know whether we are gone or coming. We are just there. But then there are those guys, you know, the ones who are able to do these things. And so, because I tell you, he might be tall, but guys who are doing mathematics in school, they are not attractive. That is the truth. People who are serious in school, they are not attractive. And so, good girls don't like those boys. And so they get these other guys. And when they get these other guys, they act surprised when the guy is bad after the baby. No, the guy was still bad. You have made a decision. And I'm telling you this so that you can know earlier. Don't go for those guys. My bishop used to tell us and tell girls, beware to despise a guy with a vision and go for a guy with a television. Because very soon, you'll be watching the guy with a vision on the television of your guy. And these statements are very true. It's the same thing with our politics today. So, what are we socialized to do? We say politics is a dirty game. So decent people, Charles and I, cannot get into politics. So who gets to politics? The dirty people. So after elections, we all act surprised that these things are bad. These guys are not okay. But we relegated that place to them. People who can shout, people who can kill, people who can call you all manner of things. That's how we are socialized. And I ask, when I talk about socio-political and cultural affairs, I always ask this question. Every election cycle since 1992 when I started voting, not 92, sorry, in 1997, when I started voting, every time after 2 years or 2 months after election, we are like, this time, next time, next election, we are going to get good people. Hii ingine inakuja. That's below the belt. Amesema ati kama Arsenal. What are they? Oh, this is the idea. I want to put a disclaimer. I am a Man United fan. So, but I feel you. A few 10 years have not been easy. So, every year, every next cycle, we are going to get good leaders. So I ask them, and I've done this on TV quite a bit. I ask them, where is this drawer that has good leaders that every time we go to pull, we pull the wrong one? Because even now we are saying 20. Hatutaki mchezo. But the truth of the matter is, even the most popular people who are likely to be elected governors, even in this Nairobi, you know, you and I know. Yeah, by the way. But one day we will act surprise. And this is the thing. We have to be honest to ourselves. And our hope is you guys. Your generation, our generation is gone. We got into that cycle. We got into that cycle. I thank God that my son today, his best friend, is not from my community.
Yes. Wow, that's good.
And there's nothing you can tell him about his community. Actually, the other day, he challenged me. I was telling him, in our days, and one day he stopped me on my tracks and told me, Dad, you know, if I lived in your days, I would probably have done what you did or better. And I realize we are dealing with a new generation, and you guys are our hope. Okay? When I was your age, the things that you guys are talking about, we couldn't talk about them. So I have moved now from Kangemi. Huyu jamaa wangu ameibiwa. Yeah. Wakati ameibiwa kila kitu, I come in the evening na kuna mafuta. So what do? I realize there's a place when we were with the other guy, I used to go to the industry area kupata mafuta huko. Tunakuja nayo na lori. And so I go to visit some friends of mine there. And because of the culture of the hard work, for 1.5 years, those guys used to send me. They used peleka hii cheki pale, peleka hii pesa bank, peleka hivyo. And the only thing they would do is buy me lunch and give me fare. But one day, Mzee saw what I was doing. And he called me. And he told me, what's your name, young man? Nimwambia naitwa Chomba Martin. I'll never forget the words that he said. He told me, kwa sababu kijana nimeona uko na heshima na wewe ni mwaminifu. Kutoka leo, sitaki ununue mafuta na jina ya mtu mwingine. Nataka ununue mafuta na jina yako. Because what had happened, you know, they are trading partners. When you go, like now if you go to Baburi Cement to buy cement, you cannot just walk in, uuziwe. Kuna wale watu wako na accounts, trading accounts. So that is, I was now using people. Natumia yako. So that mzee saw how aggressive I was. And he opened my trading account. That was the year 2001 and 2. And I'm telling you, my friend, as they say, the rest is history. Because that is when I started getting money. In a day you trade, and the first day I think I got 8,000 shilling. Profit. Hey, unaenda kwa counter, unaiweka hapa, then unaenda kwa hii ingine kuuliza balance. Uone kama hiyo pesa bado iko. You guys, if you've not done that, you don't know. Kama hujawahi weka pesa kwa bank na ukaangalia na simu balance, uone kama iko. Hujakapitia. And that's how I started growing. One very important thing I want to let you guys know. I'm not telling you to be like me, but if you can, please.
In a world full of dreamers, only a few dare to build. At BrookWise Ltd, we empower entrepreneurs to turn bold ideas into thriving businesses. Through personalized mentorship, expert coaching, and hands-on training, we equip you with tools that spark real transformation. Join a vibrant community, connect, collaborate, and grow. Access funding opportunities, build winning strategies, and navigate your business journey with clarity and confidence. Backed by a team that believes in your vision, BrookWise Ltd walks with you every step of the way. BrookWise Ltd, empowering entrepreneurs to thrive. Visit BrookWiseLtd.com or follow us on social media and be part of the movement. Don't miss our upcoming event on the last Friday of this month at GTC Office Suites, Nairobi. Reserve your seat today by visiting BrookWiseLtd.com/TimeToTalk. Your journey starts now.
I bought my first car, when I was going to 23 years.
Wow.
Sasa hiyo nimetoka kuvuta mkokoteni. Going to 24 years, nimetoka kuvuta mkokoteni. But within like 6 months kutoka nifunguliwe hiyo account yangu, I made money that would buy me a car. And I had some money in the bank. And I remember some friends of mine that we schooled with. And we had gotten to be friends. They would come to me on a Friday. I remember one asking me, Chomba, leo ni lini ni Friday? Saa ngapi? Saa 3. Na hapa nje kuna gari. It was a KEK 507K. Na iko na mafuta. And you have money in the bank. Na umelala. And you are 24.
On a Friday. On a
Friday night.
My God. It was a privilege.
Hujawahi sikia Naivasha? Hujawahi sikia Kani? I'll tell you these guys. This life is very deceiving. The day you start making money, in the mind of a young person, you tend to think life will always be like that.
Yeah.
Until upatane na mwamba mahali, then you don't have nothing to your name, and the opportunity that you had is not there. Can I tell you this? You see all the people you see in this city, all of them minus none, each of them have had an opportunity.
Yes.
The only problem is some people do not realize when an opportunity is at hand. And those who realize, sometimes they don't do what they need to do. And that's why you always hear people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, they always talk about those days when they used to make a lot of money. You ask yourself, then what happened? It is the group that you kept. When I went to the industrial area depot, unasikia mimi niko kanisani, then I'm in the industrial area depot. The people I mixed with were all older than me by far. We are still very good friends today. Those guys are in their 60s. They were either 15 years or so ahead of me. What they were thinking then, when we are seated tukiuza mafuta, they are talking about buying a plot, buying a truck ya mafuta. So that is how I was socialized in business. Your company makes you, whether you like it or not. If you live and stay amongst 5 thieves, it will not be long before you become the 6th thief. Wewe usiniambia ati hata mimi najijua. Uongo. Najiaminia. Uongo. If you see that 1,000 that you don't care about today, unatoka nayo tu unarudi kesho hata umekopa. Thank God you are making these gentlemen rich. But that is what you would use in future to climb the ladder. Sijui kama we are communicating something here.
Yes.
Don't allow today's gratification to deny you tomorrow. Psychology says every young lady at the age of between 22 and 24, they have met a man who would have made a perfect husband for them. Ukirudisha akili nyuma, if you are beyond that age, you know there was that gentleman who would do anything for you. But in most cases, because at that age is when you are happening, you know, and when you pass, everybody is like, so you are doing picky. And unfortunately, like the voters, you pull the wrong. If you knew what I'm telling you today, unaona hiyo huyo mtu anakaa vibaya, but they are out for you. Please. Unajua wale, I don't know whether unajua wale watu, I know kuna watu wamevaa miwani hapa, lakini kuna watu wamevaa hiyo miwani nasema. Unajua ile inakaa chupa ya Tritop chini. You know those guys? Look at every billionaire we have today and tell me when they were in school how they looked. Akina Bill Gates. Look at every billionaire. I'm talking about literally every billionaire that we have. They didn't look the part when they were in school, when they were young. Because you cannot have your cake and eat it. You cannot look fly and fly.
Wow.
Hello? I hope I'm still your friend. And you allow me, he told me to say it as it is.
Yes.
So what do you do? In this life, define your parameters. Define your railroad without necessarily wanting to look like. I tell my son today that two things define life. Two words, phrases define life. Belief system and feel like. Every time you do what you feel like, more often than not, you mess. Every time you do that which has formed your belief system, you do what is right.
Yep.
When you are young, there are things that you are taught. There are values that were put in you. And that is the belief system I'm talking about. You are told time and again that you study hard, then you can get good grades and do whatever else that you want to do. But you and I know, I am a student, I'm a PhD student. I was telling him today, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I've not left the house the whole day. Nimetoka sahi nikikuja hapa, doing assignments and turning them in, you know. But I don't feel like doing them. But I believe it is the right thing for me to do if I am going to graduate. Isn't it?
Yes.
It is the same thing with businesses. You don't feel like putting in extra hours.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, you have to. On Friday night, you don't feel like going home. Unasikia kwenda dunda. If you keep looking at me straight, nobody will know I'm talking about you. You just keep looking at me. Bora unikazie macho tu. Are we together?
Yes.
Kuna watu, Charles,
Yes.
hawezi lala. Na pesa ilale hapa. Ati amelala hivi na pesa iko hapa. Anastuka usiku. Hapana. There are also these characters. If they get money today, they cannot work until iishe. Ndo atafute ingine. This is my mantra. The way I built my business, the way I built money, is even my wife knows, if my son knows, everybody around me know, that today we cannot spend money that we have not made today. Hiyo mnasema ya jana, that is part of the stock. If I've not made money today, we leave the bare minimum. So we want to eat pizza, we look at the books today. Why? Because if I spend the money I made today, I've not taken a step back. But if I eat the money I made yesterday, I have taken a step back. These things are not in books. My grandmother is the one who taught my first economic lesson. She used to tell me, if you want to borrow 10 bob, make sure you have 20 bob. Meaning, you are worth 20 bob when you are borrowing 10 bob. But a lot of us are borrowing 1,000 when you are worth nothing. Unaona saa hii watu wanachotwa wakichukua magari. My first truck, I bought it in 2004. Magari zenye nilikuja kukopa, how I used to do it, I used to take money to the account ya General Motors until ikifika ile pesa inafaa naendea gari. That way I don't have pressure. Then after I had two and the third truck, then I would go and borrow a truck. Why? Because I'm not relying on that truck that I've borrowed ikuje ifanye kazi ilipe. It is a concerted effort of all these other trucks, and so I will not feel it. Unfortunately, our desire to happen kustua watu inakufanya uendee saa hiyo. And you know, people are very funny. This is how people will behave. And I also want to tell women the same thing. Once you've bought a good car na tumeiona siku ya kwanza,
they forget.
Hiyo story imeisha. It is so sad, hata ukirudisha kwa duka bado watakwambia 25% off. Ukirudisha the following day. It's the same thing I tell ladies. Na munisikize. And this is the truth. There is no beautiful woman after a man has slept with them. The beauty is up until what keeps that man coming back to you is something different. Maybe your character, your personality. But the allure of the beauty was up until that day. That is the sad truth that a lot will not tell you. So your character means more. Hello? I hope I'm communicating. I know some of these things are hard, but it's the truth. And if you take back your mind, you ask yourself, what happened to so and so? Hata wewe ujuagi. But that's the truth. So don't take things that you don't need to please people who don't care. Because people don't care. You have a new car, so what? Si tutaambiana tu haya bye. Wewe ukienda hivyo ndo unapigiwa simu ya Equity. Na mimi nimeenda kulala. Umeenda na gari huko karibu ugonge ukuta ukipigiwa simu. Huyu mwenye ana gari anaenda analala. And I know this life. What people call blessing is not what you talk about. I have lived in places of opulence and places of poverty. When I was in Kangemi, nilikuwa nakaa nyumba za mabati. And I tell people this. Their family that was living in my neighborhood, just next to my mabati. Nikigonga mabati naweza waamsha. But that family, the husband was a watchman. I remember I used to see him. But ile siku hayuko kazi. Walikuwa wanacheka kwa hiyo nyumba.
Yes, they were happy.
Happy.
Yes.
Luya men.
Yes.
Happy. By the way, Luya guys are very happy. On a serious note. I don't know. No, this is something I've observed. Wanapenda tu, they are just happy people. I lived with them for long and I tell you. Yeah, you pressure mingi. So, I tell people, when they slept, it was like a choir. And this choir is baba akingorota, mama anachukua. Watoto nao wana blend. You know, wana harmonize. And so it is like a choir. But I've also lived in estates where people are rich. Mzee amekuja nyumbani na 300,000 hapa. Mama zingine ziko kwa kibeti. But wakipitana ni Unajua those of us who used to graze. Unajua ng'ombe ikikuta just iko na kitu kabaya hapo, ndio ikule. Wanapitana hivyo kwa nyumba. So what do you think is the blessed house? Wale wamekula sukuma na ugali and wanaleta mpaka asubuhi. These are the guys, they have everything to their disposal, but hata kulala ni kama uende hii Kempiski ulale huko 50,000 alafu usingizi ipotee. Unaona hiyo picha? Ama umeenda na wife ama your girlfriend alafu mkosane saa 5 usiku. Hiyo itakuwa very expensive at night. Tunaelewana? Yes, we are talking. So what people call blessing is very different. If you can be consistent and avoid some pitfalls, the other pitfalls that you'll do, I told you, for any business to make you money, it will take you a minimum of 3-4 years, just like the way you go to college. And if you quit middle, you won't graduate. It's the same thing with business. But after those 4 years, there are people who will come to you, very anointed people, with very good proposals. Have you ever realized nobody advises you what to do when you don't have money? Yeah? It's until they realize uko na kakitu anakuuliza. You see, like my business, we make coins, we trade in cents. It's very highly capitalized, but we trade in cents. So somebody will come and realizes you have like 10 million, and you write, "Hey, Chomba, and unatumia milioni 10 to make 10,000 per day." Ah, boss, si ukuje nikuonyeshe mahali unaweza wekelea alafu unapata milioni. Boss, I tell people, do what you know how to do. The other thing is, the business that we want to do today must also align with your desire, with what you are wired to do, with your passion. There's nothing bad as doing something that you don't like. And because you guys have the advantage of age, please make sure that which you're doing, the only way to do whether you can be successful in it is finding that you can do this thing without being paid every day and you still enjoy it. Do you get me? Yes. You can do the same thing without money and you still enjoy. If you do that, then take this other principle I tell people. You cannot be a captain of industry when you are not consistent. And on the other hand, I want you to show me somebody who has done the same thing 10, 15, 20 years and they are not a captain of that industry. Like I told you, you spend a lot of time in developing acumen. And that is what business is. Anything else you do huku ni transaction. Buying and selling. I can go and buy a solar panel and nikuje niuzie huyu. I've just transacted and maybe got some 10 bob or 100 bob. But if you're looking to grow business, you have to develop acumen. And that it's intangible. It's just knowing, like you know you are a man or you are a woman. I usually tell people, if you have to think whether you are a man, then you are not. It's the same thing. Okay? So, Chomba, in 2003, gets married. And this time, I have really grown, because of the low esteem I had grown. The things that used to be taught to me in church, nilizichukua kabisa. You know, when they come and teach me and tell me you don't have to be the way you were born, I too would take that literally. And I've always tried to go sometimes against some norms. People say don't blow your own trumpet. But I say the opposite. I usually say in the world we are living in, if you don't blow your own trumpet, people will not even realize that you have one in the first place. And so what am I saying? Blow the damn trumpet. My son is in Harvard University as we are speaking. When we were doing the applications, I compared to what other people were doing in America. And I'm telling you guys, people out there blow their trumpet. A child who was a class prefect, they say he was a class president. in grade 1. Everything they talk is big.
Yeah, Americans are big.
But we've been socialized. And you know, even what we call the information order, even the way we draw our maps. Africa happens to be one of the largest continents, but it is displayed as a small continent. And so we've been socialized to see ourselves small in everything, and we are not. So what do you do? There are things I live with. Some people will call it pride. If you cannot understand, you'll call it pride. But I usually tell my people, as long as unaringa na maringo yako, hakuna ya mtu imeibiwa, we ringa. Tunaelewana? As long as ile maringo wanasema si ya mtu mwingine ni yako, we ringa. I tell people today, I cannot be poor, even in an example. You know, I don't entertain negativity. Have you met those guys 5 minutes into conversation, unafanya kichwa hivi? Vile umechoka? You won't know how I left. There are these people, they tend to give bad examples, and this is where I get into the Bible, and the spiritual life is spiritual, and God says He's the Father of all spirits. Words are creative. When Upper Arboretum, we used to go with my wife to pray before we got married, and I remember a lot of times, because I've had it with Benihin about the mother, what the mother used to do. I would go and hold my wife's tummy and say words that out of this womb there will be great men and women in this country. Especially as men, we have that capability. These women, they are called women because they incubate. The womb incubates. Whatever you give them, they multiply it and give it back to you in a very big measure. If you give them positive vibes, they can make you the best person, that's in the happiest person. But if you give them a negative one, they have the capacity to make you ask them, who is your mother? But it is not them. They are just incubators. So as a man, God has given us the ability to talk about our future. And so, those that follows me on my Facebook, they know. Ever since my son was in class 5, I've always called him Professor Mutuge. I don't care what you think. Situlisema maringo ni yangu. Bas. I call him Prof. Even now when we talk, yesterday we spoke at 2 a.m. My phone call is all, hi Prof. That is how we talk. And last year, but one, when he sat his KCSE, he scored an A of 84. Wow. He did his first year medical school up to, I think, June. And then he was admitted to 5 universities in the US. 3 of them, Ivy League. And I want to tell you about the power of a speech. He was admitted to University of Pennsylvania, Columbia University, and Harvard. Those are all Ivy League. Then he got admission to Amherst and Howard, which was Harvard. In 2016, I went back to school. That is when I went to do my degree. Okay. I went to the USIU, and I wanted to do what I love. I love talking, so I wanted to do journalism. But they don't have. So I took the next best thing. I started to study IR. I am so good in IR around then, I didn't know. Then a certain lady comes and tells me, Chomba, you know you are on Dean's watch list. I didn't know even what that was because I used to go to class, immediately leave for work. Then when I'm graduating, I am graduating with what they call there cum laude. There's an equivalent, the cum laude. So I am given an opportunity by the university to represent the university in Harvard Model United Nations. You know those things? Yeah. And then that's how I go to US for the first time in 2019. When I go to Harvard, I bought a t-shirt and I told the professor I was with that I want to buy this t-shirt. My son was in class 8 then, because I would want him to get inspired to come and study here. The power of... We've been socialized in our culture that kusema what you want in life ni maringo. But I refuse. When I was in Kangemi, I used to buy zile nguo za kushikanisha, za kulinganisha. When I go to industrial area, those guys would tell me that, Chomba, you look so smart. And I would tell them in Kikuyu, adwaria tui besha tui hubagogu. Meanwhile, that is translated to mean, those of us who are married, this is how we dress. Meanwhile, he's buying me lunch and giving me fare to go back to Kangemi. The guy I'm telling that. So, I did the same, something else to that level. 2008, my son was born in 2005. 2008, I have a girl who is Form 3 right now at Alliance Girls. Their primary school, walisoma hapo Liara. So, my wife passes on in theater. Akaniacha na ako ka, nikimekashika hivyo, that 1 hour, less than an hour. 6 months after that, I decided to move. I used to stay in Donholm, Greenfield. And I told the guy, he actually reminded me the other day. I told them I'm going to Westlands.
Yes.
I am going to Westlands. You know those days, ukisikia mtu anakaa Westlands. So, and he reminded me what I told him. I told him, nitaenda Westlands. Nitakaa. Hata nikishindwa, nitakuwa nimekaa mwezi mmoja. And it will be written in my history that one day, alikaa Westlands. But ladies and gentlemen,
You are speaking to me, man. You are speaking
from 2009 to date, I am still in.
Wow.
Hii maisha saa ingine, you have to force issues. And I'm telling you, you see, no matter the economy of the jungle, a lion will never eat grass. Hawezi kuta simba ati inasema ni kubaya sana, wacha nikule tu nyasi. Haiwezi.
And it's not pride.
Yeah, that is not pride. So and that's why I said you must define your parameters. You see, it doesn't matter how good this road is.
Yeah.
SGR haiwezi pitia hapa. Because imewekewa leli yake. Si ni kweli? Itapitaga tu huko Savo, huko inapitaga huko. Hata mkitengeneza barabara inafanana aje. It is the same thing. What are your parameters? So I was telling you, I am not poor even in an example. There are things I don't like, and this is what I want to tell you about the power of your tongue. Those people who come and tell you, ati brother, ukagongwa na gari. Sio mimi. Wewe sema mtu akagongwa na gari. Ati ukafirisika. Sema mtu I will understand what you mean. Lakini sema mtu
I don't want to get it. I got it.
Are we together? Yes. That's why I'm saying I am not poor even in a... Exactly. Yeah. Something that I don't like, in Kikuyu tunasema mti yenye haikatwi haionyeshangu shoka. So kama sifirisiki hata tusiongee hiyo maneno. I actually don't even like people wenye wananiambia ati niliona gari yako hapo pharmacy hapo kwa hospitali. Gari yangu sana sana utaiona hapo kwa butchery. Hapo mtu akushinda kuambia ati alikuona hapo KU ama Montezuma. Hapana. Bona wakati niko GTC ya Unioni. Because words, whether you like it or not, words becomes reality after some time. As a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. Unajua watu wanaona Biblia ni kama suggestions. It's true. It's true. But I'm not talking about preaching zile za adabrakadabra za kukunywa mafuta. I'm talking about where ujisomee. Because there's something I tell people. We've been created to work.
Yes.
You must know that. The Bible says, he who does not work should not eat. The Bible does not say, he who does not make money should not. It says, work. Whether you are getting paid or not, you must work. But people don't read their Bible well. So anaachaga job, anakwambia, lakini haina pesa. I tell people, when you ask somebody, what do you do for a living? They tell you nothing. Yet they are alive. What is keeping you alive when you are doing nothing can keep you alive when you are doing something for nothing. Are we together?
Yes.
Because you'd had rather do something for nothing than nothing for nothing. Because no matter the number you multiply with nothing, will always be nothing. Na so those guys are the ones who are wanakaa, wanasema mtu akanipatia milioni inaweza wastua. It will not happen. Unajua stories za jaba? Ati ndege hii inapita ikaangusha sijui nini. It will not happen. There is nobody who is coming to rescue you, my friend. You have to work yourself and pull yourself up. And so you have a responsibility. So Chomba has gotten married, and in 2008 my best friend passes on. Very good, beautiful girl. We were very close, and so I'm distraught. So what do? I'm in a new world. So I get myself, the house help that was left stayed with my babies until they were 8 years. I wanted them to get to a place where we can have a conversation with them before somebody else comes into my life. And luckily, you know, the beauty of life, wazee hawanaga maneno mingi. So the girl did not move because all I cared is my kids have eaten and they have gone to school. Anything else mnafanya hapo kwa nyumba ni shauri yenu. You know, ladies ndo wanakuaga na hizo stories zingine. So that luckily I stayed with that girl. Actually, when she was getting married, the father asked me, because she was from another place huko Mau Summit, atolewe kwangu and act like the father. And this is another thing. The people that God has given to you, either working for you or living with you, treat them with dignity.
Yes.
Let them. That girl left my home. I had taken her to Zite College. She had studied. She left a wholesome person that never went to the job of a house help. But she had come to my place at the age of 19 and she left at 27.
Wow.
Na alitoka na kila kitu na akaolewa. She has her home and she's doing well. And so nimekaa nafanya biashara, then nimewambia nimerudi shule 2015. Na 2019 I graduated. When I was in Harvard is when I realized everything that was organized in Harvard was organized by second year students. There were no faculty members involved in those things. And that thing challenged me a lot. And it made me think about Kenya and the industry I was in. By then, it was very chaotic. People who are us, we were called independent dealers. We were treated like second-class citizens in the industry because we were fragmented. And the fragmentation was to the advantage of the majors. When you're fragmented, when they import fuel, they have nothing, they don't think about us. We are actually scavengers. And so when they don't think about you, when you go to buy, they sell you the way they want. And that is when I came, and around the same time, 2018 December, VAT on petroleum was being introduced. And because I had learned one or two things, a lot of people who were dealing with petroleum then were not schooled. And most of them did not understand that VAT is not their money, it's the money they are collecting on behalf of the government. And so they wanted to protest. And when we were having those discussions, they came to my office, and I remember them standing up nje wakaniambia, Chomba, why don't you lead us? We form something that can make sense and negotiate on behalf of the industry. And that's how I founded Petroleum Outlets Association of Kenya. Today, Petroleum Outlets Association of Kenya brings in, when I started, it was bringing in about 68% of all the petroleum dealers in the country. Today, we are higher than that by far. We, in this country, we trade about 400 million liters a month. Yes, this 400 million liters a month. This industry, this organization accounts for about 70 to 80% of that fuel. The people I am with. I don't know how many of you remember in 2022, there's a day you woke up and there was no fuel. Yeah. So, around the same time, everybody was giving their opinion. And then the media, Citizen TV, Wahiga Mwaura calls me, and I have to go to studio. And so, I think that night he did not come. We were with, I think, Ken Mijungu, Monday night, something. And we were debating with the then PS for Petroleum. And I gave my explanations as to why the nation did not have fuel. So, and I was telling them, the people that I represent do not have fuel. And we are the one that providing fuel to the villages. And so the motorcycles and everybody, because the argument was there is fuel in the country. And it is true there was fuel in the country, but we did not have. And it's because we are scavengers. Nobody brings fuel directly to us. So the majors are giving us fuel at a price higher than what they are selling at the pump. So we cannot do business. And so when I was telling them, where I come from, the village I come from is called Kangaita. And the only major is in Kerugoya. And there are so many other places there that surrounds that village. So if every motorbike goes to town, logistically it's not possible to fuel 1,000 motor vehicles. And I think the then president was listening. And he ordered, I be asked if I can be provided with fuel, whether that would sort the issue. And I told them, yes, in a day it would be sorted. And I remember that time, they give me products worth 3.6 billion. The following day, so that I can distribute to my people, and that problem was sorted, and it has never been repeated. Wow. And that is how we entrenched ourselves in the industry. Today, including today, I received an invitation. Whenever there is an issue that has to do with petroleum in the country, they always want to hear our input, because we are no longer the guys who are indispensable. We play a part. And this is what I want to urge us. This organization, I did not form it so that I can make money. Actually, a lot of people fault me and tell me, when you're given that product, ungeomoka. No, ungesema tu palita 10 bob ni yako. And it would have happened. Yeah. But I also knew this. It is not me who was being given that product. You remember the triumphant entry into Jerusalem by Jesus? You know, hiyo punda ilikuwa imewekewa mkeka na maleso. Do you know it would have been very stupid of that punda kwenda kuambia punda wengine mimi siku hizi nawekeagwa mkeka na wamama. Msinione namna hiyo, nikitembea na wetembeaga juu ya maleso. Because the following day we don't even know hiyo punda ilikuwa wapi. So mkeka huko umewekewa punda. Ulikuwa umewekewa? Yes. It is not me who was being given the product. The product was being given to the country. It was just a responsibility. And I wanted to tell you this. Faithfulness. You don't have to make money. My friend, you don't have to. If it is not clean, don't make money. I tell people today, I have a problem. You see this wallet? Nikiokota pesa hata kukuya hakuna mtu. I am not able to put it in my wallet. I tell people, the minute you take dirty money, it's like injecting your blood with cancerous cells. I like the silence. I like the silence. The minute you involve yourself in corruption, it will negate any good thing. And you see, life is a life, it's defined by principles, like the way you talk about physics. There are principles that are there to every action. The Archimedes principle of display. I did up to Form 2. I was telling him my last lesson in physics, I still remember it was called Young Modulus of Elasticity. That is the last thing I did in physics in Form 2. But life is like that. God is equally principles. God is not emotional. God is seated on his throne, whether you are crying or laughing. He will not even stand to sympathize with you, because he has instituted principles. He has said, do this and you shall. Do this and you shall. You just need to look at and realize, am I on the same on the line? So avoid that which is not yours. I am telling you, Charles will tell you, he has lived without money and he has gotten some money. But there's nothing that equals your peace. Okay. There's nothing that equals your peace. There are people today who are driving Mercedes V12, but the farthest it can take them is to the hospital. They don't even know that they are in their own Mercedes. Are we together?
Yeah.
Let us not chase the wrong things. Let us chase impact. Let us do honest business. Be proud of the Toyota Vitz that you own.
Yeah.
Huyo akona Mercedes, akona gari kubwa ni yake. Everybody is doing their lane. Kila mtu anapigiwa na Equity kivyake. Si ni ukweli? So do your thing. There are people who, when you go to sleep, they don't sleep. They are doing some other business. Wameenda wanapiga watu ngeta. Na wewe asubuhi mnakutana wananunua inaitwa sijui chapsoi, sijui inaitwa nini, na wewe you can only afford a mandazi. Unastuka. Don't. Stick to your lane. My grandmother taught me a lesson I will never forget. Yeah. He told me this. She told me this. There is no young poor person. As long as you're young, you have a clean slate. You cannot be poor. Just avoid being greedy. Walk at your pace. If you don't remember anything else, remember what I'll tell you now. In your life, direction is more important than speed. Direction is more important than speed. As long as you're facing the right direction, doing the right thing, don't worry about the speed. You'll eventually get there. If I face this way and I travel at 1,000 kilometers per hour, and Charles faces this way and travels at 10 kilometers per hour, if our destination was Mombasa, he will get to Mombasa before me. If I go this way, I'll have to travel 42,000 kilometers for me to get to Mombasa. Around there, the globe. Are we together? So face the right direction. The next thing is, when I'm driving to Mombasa at this hour, my vehicle can only see 200 meters. Then I see another 200 meters after that. Another 200 meters after that. And eventually I travel 500 kilometers and I'm in Mombasa. Unfortunately, a lot of us young people, we want to stand from Nairobi and see Mombasa. It's not possible. Just make sure that you have the right concept. Don't care about uko mbele kuko aje. Make sure that whatever you are doing now, you are doing it to the very best of your knowledge. Okay. Are we together?
Yes.
You are not chasing money. You are facing the right direction, and you are applying yourself to the very best. Every night before you sleep, ask yourself, have I given it my all? If you are satisfied that you've given it your all, sleep na ungorote. Are we together?
Yes.
Hello?
Hello.
Be intentional. My daughter today, she plays piano. Actually, she just left Conservator. I don't know where it is. I think Haridhuku somewhere. She's a school pianist at Alliance Girls. How did she become? When we were singing praise and worship with the mom, I bought the mother a piano and put it in their bedroom. So that whoever, I used to tell them, instead of going all over the place, go to the house, try something. They are innovative. I put a TV there. So she trained herself through the YouTube. Kuna zile wakiguza zikiteremka. You know, for some of us, some of those things are Greek. But eventually, that talent grew. Things do not come by chance. The other day, I go to school and naona ni yeye anacheza. Then naambiwa she's going for nationals. She's doing sijui how many pieces. And she won at nationals level. These things do not just happen. They are intentional. An omelette is as good as what you put in it. If you want an omelette to taste like onions, you put onions. A man is a sum total of what he eats minus what eats him. Are we together? A sum total of minus. I want to put it to you today. Where you are in life, it's your responsibility. It is a product of your thought processes, your orientation, and your beliefs. The day you start blaming someone is the day you start failing. Ukisikia na mtu tu anasema isipokuwa ni nani? That is you know that kamim kanasemaga failure. I think it's one of my favorite. You know that failure. Somebody who is blaming is a failure. Why? Because you have no control of the things that are pushed to you, but you have the control of how you react. Are we together? Young people, learn from this and listen, please. Do not allow yourself to conform to popular narratives that are taking you nowhere. Think and ask yourself, does that make sense? For instance, a young girl of 22 years will stand in a corner and say, wanaume wa siku hizi ni wabaya. I ask myself, when did you leave when they were good? And now you have come back at 22, umekuta ni wabaya. Those of you who have done a bit of philosophy, you know fallacies. I'm sure in law you've done that. You know fallacies. A 25-year-old man, ati wanawake wa siku hizi ni wabaya sana. When were you there? Wakati walikuwa wazuri. Sasa ndio umekuja. Because of that belief, you are socialized to see every woman as a bad woman. And I'm telling you, as a man thinketh in his heart, na si mimi nimesema. So the day you get married, you'll get married to wanaume wa siku hizi. To wanawake wa siku hizi. Do not speak ill of that which you desire in life. If one day you desire a family and children, wife, don't be caught dead vilifying the institution of marriage. If you desire to have a family, usikae mahali wanaongea vibaya kuhusu. Are we speaking? Yes. I want to end by these points. That from where you are, going forward, you are responsible for your own life and progress. No one is coming to rescue. Akuna. No one is coming
to rescue you.
Because being rescued is an art. Even those with rich fathers and mothers and uncles, being rescued is an art. There are those wanajaribu kuokotwa na wako like maini wanapitia huku chini. You must show yourself the way out of the issues that we are facing today. I want to really wish and pray that I've communicated and that you're going to be better and you're not going to chase money, that you're going to chase value, and you're not going to accommodate popular narratives out there. You don't have to fit in. That is the biggest problem of young people. And the people today who unajisqueeze you fit now. I was telling my daughter the other day, you are trying so hard to fit into a sorority club. And the truth of the matter, I asked her, you are in Form 3 now. Those who you were with in class 8, you don't even meet, you don't even know them anymore. The same thing will happen when you leave Form 4. People who made you not study because you wanted to fit in their club, you don't even meet them. The same thing, campus. The day you leave, the people you tried so hard to fit into, you don't have them. It is the same thing. Even now, there are differences between friends and acquaintances. You work with people. They are not necessarily your friends. So they should not dictate how your life becomes. Yeah. Are we together? Yes. So you ask yourself these questions. Am I facing the right direction? Am I applying the very best? Am I honest to God and to myself? Then you don't have to please anybody else. And if you forget anything else, speak positive about your life. Speak positive about your children and your business. God bless you.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.